Hi all, my name is Haley Comet and welcome to my cosmic corner of the internet where we discuss all things astrology, and today all things Aries Descendant, aka what a Libra rising is looking for in love. Because to understand how a Libra rising operates, what it is that they are looking to balance within themselves, within interpersonal relationships and connections, what their ideal match would be, we don't dive into the Libra Ascendant energy, as that's an angle that deeply involves self, identity, appearance. That is you. To understand how you are in relationships and what you're looking for in relationships, we hop across the chart and look at the Descendant. So if you are looking for a deep dive into the Ascendant, which is essentially how it is that you see the world and how the world sees you, check out my Libra Ascendant video. I have that entire series complete. And now we're jumping into the Descendant. So we're just going right across the chart and we are talking about what it means if you have an Aries Descendant. So I'm so excited to jump into this series. If you wouldn't mind, if you get any value from this video, if you could consider liking, subscribing, any little nudge that you feel called to give, I feel so grateful for. And without further ado, let's dive in. So what is the Descendant firstly? As I highlighted, this is an angle that governs energy that we don't resonate with within ourselves. So we can look to other people to complement that energy. And it can represent our ideal match, people who really bring us into balance, people who can sort of make up for certain deficiencies within our chart. And this is one-to-one contact, so any sort of interpersonal connection, romance, as well as like business partnerships. It's just people that we can work well with. And it doesn't need to literally mean dating Aries. A lot of times it does. That kind of gets into house overlays, but a lot of times that can be helpful when someone has a placement in the sign of your Descendant. However, it really just goes into how that energy embodies itself, as well as following the ruler of that Descendant. So I want you to look at your chart and I want you to find Mars. I want you to notice the sign of your Mars, and I want you to notice the house as well as the aspects if you're ready to take that on. This represents your perfect match. It could represent where it is that you meet this perfect match, as well as it is your Descendant ruler. So transits to that planet will tell you significant events when it comes to your one-to-one connections, when it comes to your relationships, when it comes to your partnerships. That is your Descendant ruler. And that Descendant ruler will more so embody what it is your perfect match is. So looking at that placement can also be helpful when determining if this is a match for you and what it is that you are looking for, the energy that balances you out. And so when you follow the Mars and you see the sign and as well as the house, I want you to contemplate how that could show up within a person and how that would show up within a person. Let's say you have your Aries Descendant and your Mars in Taurus is in the 8th house. 8th house is about shared assets. You might be drawn to someone who will initiate. That's an Aries quality, right? But particularly when it comes to your all's shared finances, you might want someone to sort of take the reins, take control there. Let's say if you have your Mars in the 10th house, it might be someone who is deeply career oriented, someone that you meet at work, an authority figure. You'll want to look at the flavor of Mars by sign and by house, because this could both describe how it is that you encounter your perfect match, as well as the sort of energy that they embody. And particularly for you having Aries Descendant, where it is that you are looking for them to sort of take charge or take the reins or initiate. Now it's important because this is literally the opposite of our Ascendant. That's what Descendant is. So if you are a Libra rising, you will be an Aries Descendant. Whenever you have this axis, there's some tension, right? But the best sort of connections have a little bit of tension. They're able to balance out deficiencies. They're able to balance out, okay, where you're strong here, I'm stronger here, so on and so forth. So with this energy, there can be really positive ways that it can manifest, and there could be more negative ways that it can manifest. So within this video, I'll be breaking it down, the higher vibration of how this will come to the surface and the lower vibration of how this energy will come to the surface. Let's educate you on Aries energy. So Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and it is very raw, it is very bold, it is very impulsive. Everywhere that you are measured, they are brash. Everywhere that you are concerned with other people, they are firmly rooted within self. Everywhere where you are patient, they are impatient. It is your opposite. And again, what do they say in relationships? Opposites attract. So while you firmly embody the energy of Libra as your ascendant, when it comes to relationships and partnerships, having another Libra doesn't necessarily balance you out, right? Having someone who embodies Aries energy, with whether it's business partnerships or marriage, can actually be helpful to bring you into balance, to sort of make up where it is that you are deficient, as well as where your strengths can play into their weaknesses. That's what true partnership is being able to play up to one person's strengths and sort of offset the other person's weaknesses. You as a Libra rising, you are someone who is charming. You're someone who is concerned with balance, concerned with harmony, wanting to be liked. You are very charismatic. And in relationships and connections, you could crave something a bit different. When it comes to people that you are drawn to, you could be drawn to very Aries-like individuals. See, Aries is a sign of self. Your rising sign is the sign of others. So whereas you view the world and are really concerned with, okay, how are other people responding to me? How do other people think of me? How can I nurture these particular relationships? When it comes to love and romance, you might be drawn to people who are a little bit more anchored in self. They might be a little less concerned about how they're being perceived by other people. And that could be refreshing for you, as a lot of your sort of mindset could be around, okay, are people responding positively to me? Whereas you could be drawn to individuals who really sit firmly within self. You can also find that this energy balances you out in terms of you being drawn to people who are inclined to initiate, who are inclined to start things, make things happen. Because you as a Libra rising, Libra is the scales, right? So you could balance things out. I could do this or I could do this. So you could find you really like being around people who take action, who are able to make a decision, because you aren't always as good as making decisions. So it might be helpful for you to partner with individuals who are able to act on instinct, who are able to initiate and make things happen. And you are also drawn to individuals who are go-getters, who are energetic. It's not to say that you aren't a go-getter, but with you being an air sign, you could spend a lot of time in your mind weighing things out, logicizing, thinking what's fair, and you could be drawn to people who just assert themselves, who just make things happen. So when it comes to individuals that you are attracted to, you could be drawn to people who are daredevils. This would be an embodiment of the Aries energy. People who are constantly challenging themselves, constantly on the go. It could be individuals who remind you to get out of your mind and get into your body, get into this physical experience. You could be drawn to people who are entrepreneurial, who take risks of some sort. You could be drawn to individuals who assert themselves, who make things happen, which could be helpful for you because, like I said, Libra rising, as charming and charismatic as you are, sometimes there could be this energy where you want to be the nice guy always. You want to be the good guy. You don't want to necessarily be the one in the couple who has to lay down the law and say, this isn't it. I don't want to do this. And it might be helpful for you to partner with people who are willing to take more of that role within a connection. So as Libra risings, you are inclined towards peace. You want everyone to get along. You want harmony. But interestingly, having Aries as your descendant within love and relationships, you might actually like a little banter. You might like a little playfulness, a little fun, a little lightheartedness. Like you might be drawn to individuals who just want to have fun, who like sort of have this childlike excitement about life that really invigorates you. And now let's get to the lower vibration of how this energy can manifest. If you are Libra rising, there can be temptations at times to just want your partner to be the bad guy. Like I said, with Libra rising, they want to be liked. They charm everybody. They are social. They're charismatic. They might not necessarily like to advocate or set boundaries around, no, we can't go to that event. They might want their partner to do all the stuff and then take more of a passive role, which sometimes can be frustrating. Also be mindful of your tendency to be drawn to individuals who are self-centered. Like I said, when it comes to descendant, it's the opposite of our ascendant, right? And since you view the world in terms of other people, how are they responding to me? What are my connections like? You could be drawn to individuals who are very self-oriented. Now, this can be refreshing, like I highlighted in the positive section, around being around people who remind you, stop caring, live your own life, take up space, exert your own flame. But it can be detrimental when it's someone who is so self-centered and so egotistical that they don't even consider your needs, because you are someone who deeply considers the needs of others. So when you're drawn to someone who is self-centered, it can almost be a perfect but doomed sort of match, in that you could spend a lot of your time and a lot of your effort concerned around the other person. What is it that they need? And then if you're drawn to egotistical types, they could just soak that all up. So there absolutely is a difference between someone who has strong boundaries, takes up space, knows who it is that they are, isn't as concerned with social graces, things of the nature, is able to advocate, able to assert itself. There's a difference between that versus someone who is egotistical and makes it all about themselves, which you can also be drawn to. And while the childlike excitement can be a positive, it can also be frustrating in that you can be drawn to individuals who are a bit immature. And again, the Aries archetype itself isn't immature, but it is the first sign of the zodiac, so it does represent the child. And another way that this can manifest is individuals who are just always trying to fight, whether it's always trying to fight you or being drawn to individuals who are just driven towards conflict. Like, it balances you out when there is individuals who are willing to, challenge themselves, get out of their comfort zone. Not to say that Libra rising doesn't do that. They're a cardinal sign after all, but Libra rising considers it deeply, right? Whereas the individuals they're drawn to, which is the Aries archetype, is more so like, let's do this. And that can be refreshing and helpful. The downside of it is when it's someone who constantly wants a fight, because Libra rising so wants harmony and so wants peace that sometimes they can get into this spirit around the Libra rising just trying to placate and control the Aries archetypes, explosive temper, their brashness, or anything of that nature, and that can also be a more negative way for that to manifest. So whether it's someone who literally is an Aries that completes your chart, or just someone who embodies the energy of Aries, you are looking in relationships for someone to balance you out, to get you out of your head and into your instincts, right? Someone to help you with initiating without overthinking, to remind you that other people don't dictate your life. You need to do what it is that you want. And when in balance, this can be a really refreshing combination. It doesn't physically have to be an Aries, but it's someone who embodies this fiery, individualistic, self-oriented nature. High vibration as well. You could find it very refreshing to be around people who are just themselves and do not care what other people think. Like I've said, a lot of your frame is around how am I being perceived and being likable, and the answer is always yes. Libra risings could charm anyone's socks off in a moment. I go more in depth than that into the Libra rising video. But when it comes to relationships, it does help to balance you out when you're with people who do not care, whether it's social graces or anything of that nature, get you out of your head and just be like, F it, are you having fun? That's what matters. There's a very pure, uncomplicated feeling that you are looking for in love, and that could be a beautiful thing. Just keep your eye on being drawn to individuals who are immature, who are brash, who are always looking to fight, always looking for conflict, even individuals who are always fighting with you. The higher vibration of that fighting spirit of the Aries would be someone who's a little bit playful, like, some banter, some teasing, but nothing too sinister. Just be mindful if someone is disrupting your peace more than they're contributing to it. Yes, certainly, sometimes it can't always just be peace, and Libra rising does have a habit to brush things under the rug, but do keep in mind when you are constantly feeling like you have to placate that individual or make them feel happy or apologize for their behavior, or like when their impulsivity gets out of control. So just know that this can represent two sides of the spectrum in terms of people that you could partner with and date, and just keeping in mind this Aries archetype and where you find it within your interpersonal relationships and how that balances you out. You scales. You guys are all about the balance anyway. So loves, let me know what you thought of this new video, of this new series. I'm so excited to jump in. Let me know if you have any questions below. And until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay cosmic.